just fine. Mic check 1 2. We'll go with the Yeti. And then I'm gonna come here, go there. All right, and let's apply it. Let's go okay. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Oh yeah, we in the house and we streaming. And I'm gonna edit this, this early part off. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna edit this, um, you know, as we get going. And instead of going live, before I go live on Instagram, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna go to YouTube. Right. Hmm. Go to my channel. And here we go. Here we go. All right. Why don't we do a little sharing to let people know that we're here? Let's create a post. All right. Join me for y'all like, man, you should have been did this. I know. I know. We're gonna talk about school choice a little bit tonight. Good or bad? Good or bad? Good or bad for the black community? Let's post that. Let's post that. One person watching, that might be me. One person watching, that might be me. That just might be me. All right. Excuse me if my camera freezes every now and then. It's my DSLR camera, and the software has been glitching as of late. So, y'all please pardon the occasional freeze, but you should get good audio. All right. All right. Okay. And what I can do here is turn that down so we won't have any echo issues coming from here, and we good to go. You know what I'm saying? Now, I wish I could share this on Facebook. However, however, uh, I was hacked on Facebook and locked out of my account, right? But I can go to Twitter and tell them to join me live on YouTube, right? Join me live, right? I see. To discuss school choice, if it's good or bad for our community. All right. And boom. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's come back here. You know, I can share from my phone a lot easier than here because I'm using a different interface. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to my YouTube chats and we're going to do this. All right. We're going to do this. Gonna do this. To the jerk who got my Instagram account, I'm coming for you. But y'all can follow us on Instagram at Uhuru Academy though. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, don't mind me. Don't mind me. Haha. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Peace and power to everyone out there. Here we go. As we share. I'm done. Do this. All right. All right. All right. Okay, okay. Y'all might hear some children in the background. That's the life of a grandfather, father, and grandfather. All right. All right, peace and power, y'all. Welcome to another edition of Education Solutions for Black Children with Baba Amin. I am Baba Amin, co-founder, along with my beautiful wife, Nkoyo Ojwo, of the Uhuru Academy or Uhuru Academy Education Solutions, right? And we are an independent education services company. We work with various private Black African centered programs throughout the country. We have our own school, Uhuru Academy Online, the world's best online private school, African centered private school, that specializes in education solutions for Black children. When I tell y'all the education experience that our children receive at the Uhuru Academy is second to none, that is what I mean. All right. And I have the honor of getting up every day, developing that program, developing that school. And I can't tell you how proud I am to be a part of this great movement. Of course, I'm not alone. My beautiful wife is with me. We have a whole team with us as well. I also want to shout out to our sister school, our family school, UASC International, doing big things in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm talking about on a Black-owned school on Black-owned land, teaching STEM, teaching agricultural science, teaching spiritual development, teaching our story, and yes, teaching advanced mathematics, advanced science, chemistry. Oh man, you talk about a STEM program, an African centered STEM program. Check out UASCinternational.com. When I get more savvy, y'all gonna start seeing everybody's stuff pop up on the screen, logos and everything, right? Right. So for right now though, this is what we have. This is what we're working on. This is what we're doing, and we're gonna make the most of it. I'm definitely having some issues with my camera, so I may freeze every now and then as it regroups and gets itself together. You know what I'm saying? I just pray that when it freezes, it doesn't catch me in one of these real ugly faces. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So check this out. I am the CEO of Uhuru Academy Education Solutions, LLC. If you haven't met me, I have been working with young people for over 30 years, primarily as an independent educator. But I have worked in the school system. I have worked for alternative schools. I've worked in charter school systems. I've worked in private schools. And in 2010, along with my wife, we founded our own private school called the Uhuru Academy. Basically got tired of putting band-aids on bullet wounds and trying to work with the system and work with other programs to provide our children what they needed. And when I say what they needed, I'm talking more culture in the school, more cultural awareness, right? Our story before slavery, right? Right. Also, a perspective, teaching a perspective of the world that includes us, not as guests to humanity, but as fathers and mothers of humanity, as a group of people that have done just as much to push humanity forward as everyone else, rather than a curriculum that introduces you to the world stage when Europeans encounter you, right? Discounting the hundreds of thousands of years of documented civilization that our ancestors were involved in prior to that, right? And the reason why we do that is because it builds confidence. When you give children ownership in what they learn, they do better. Right. And that's the purpose of African centered education. But we all know that there is one big Jim Crow law that still exists in the public school system today. And that Jim Crow law, that Jim Crow commandment is thou shalt not teach Black history. Thou shalt not teach Black children who they are. Thou shalt not teach Black history prior to slavery. Thou shalt not include the African contributions to mathematics and math class. Thou shalt not include the African contributions to science and science class, the African contributions to governance and social studies and civics, the African contributions to world economics and economics class. Thou shalt not introduce the African contribution to vocations and trades and hand skills, right? Masonry. Thou shalt not include that in the curriculum. That Jim Crow law is still here. That unwritten law, because it's not written down anywhere, it's just practiced pretty much everywhere, right? And I'm not here to cry racism about it. I'm here as someone who says, I want my children to have every advantage when going to school. I want y'all talk about equality. Well, if one child is going to school and seeing people that look like them found civilization, found mathematics, found history, right? They're watching people who look like them do that. Then I want my children to see people who look like them doing the same thing, especially when it's true, right? Especially when it's true. Okay. And so that's something that we've been fighting for in the school system for decades now. Now, back during segregation, back when you had all black schools, right? You had black schools who would sneak in, quote unquote, some black history, right? You had schools that would practice Negro History Week when Carter G. Woodson would come to town and made Negro History Week very popular. You even had schools like my mom's school in Abilene that renamed itself from Abilene Colored High School to Carter G. Woodson High School, right? Right? In honor of the great historian who reminded us that we are miseducated in his book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Any education that educates you away from yourself is miseducation, right? And so African-centered educators come from that ilk, right? During that time, you say, well, you know, you black kids had to go to the black schools. And do you notice when we say that, we automatically think suffering? Do you realize when we talk about school desegregation and segregation, when we talk about segregation, we make an assumption that all of the black schools were bad? We make an assumption that children weren't getting proper educations at the black schools, so they had to integrate the schools so we could get good education. Raise your hand if you made that assumption. Do y'all know that there were some black private boarding schools like Bordentown that were turning out leaders left and right? Do y'all know that when Booker T. Washington built Tuskegee, he wasn't just turning out drivers and porters and industry men and women. They were turning out leaders at the same time. You know, in several cities, including the one I'm from, Fort Worth, Texas, back when those schools were quote unquote segregated, right? We had one particular school called I.M. Terrell High School, right? And I.M. Terrell was a segregated black school, right? But do you know that I.M. Terrell was actually one of the top rated high schools, black or white, in the state of Texas during its existence? And when they passed integration, when they chose to integrate, they used integration as a tool to close, to shut down I.M. Terrell High School and bus the children from that community. The high school used to sit right there outside of the so-called projects. They shut it down and began busing those children from the that black community on into, or that housing community that was full of black people, to Arlington Heights High School, which was a predominantly white school. And you know that the graduation rates in Butler housing took a nosedive instantly. But some of the biggest black leaders in the history of Fort Worth, where I'm from, were graduates of I.M. Terrell High School, right? So I'm kind of laying the framework from what we're talking about today. We're 60 years up from integration, over 60 years up from Brown versus Board of Education, right? It's time to give integration a report card. Now, we're not going to do that in this video, but I think we can all agree that schools in the black community are in a state of crisis. I think we can all agree that many schools in our communities are underfunded, poorly staffed, right? Labeled as low performing because the children aren't passing a culturally biased state standardized test. There are a myriad of issues, right? Let alone how the system generally treats teachers in the first place, right? Right. So with all that going on, you think that the black community would be looking for options, right? Well, I know what our primary objective has been: get inside of the system and let's fix it from within. I know several great black school superintendents. I know several great black teachers, black principals, black counselors, black vice principals. I know many that are great. They are in place, they're doing their jobs, and when it comes time to specific solutions for black children, they have a line that they cannot cross. They have a line that they absolutely cannot cross. Peace to Mental Son, right? And so they try to do what they can. I know black teachers who sneak and teach our children their history on the side. I know black teachers and black principals and counselors who only when they're one-on-one with a black child will they give them a little culture. I know even more though that would do it, but they hadn't been educated on our history themselves. Right? But we're still fighting that fight. But while we're fighting that fight, how many children are we losing? How many children are falling through the cracks? That's what we have to ask ourselves. How many children are falling through the cracks while we're waiting on our leadership to change the system? Do y'all know that the public school system is the #1 introducer to the prison system in America for black youth? There are cities where more money is spent and invested in incarcerating our youth than in educating our youth. Right? So we have some issues. Our relationship as black people with the public school system is an interesting one. On the one hand, we've done some great things with the public school system. We've had black people to graduate from the public school system and go on to achieve tremendous success. Tremendous success. But at the same time, there are so many who have a hard time conforming. So many that don't fall into certain categories that are kind of like career launchers for black people. So many that don't fall under the athletic banner, right? So many that don't fall under the entertainment banner. You have some that have a natural spirit to become things that just aren't taught in their public school. You have some natural farmers that are in urban schools not learning anything about farming. Natural chemists in urban schools not learning anything about chemistry. Natural bricklayers and carpenters and electricians inside of certain schools, and they're not learning anything towards their passion. Natural market keepers, store owners in schools aren't learning anything about entrepreneurship. What do? Do we keep asking and begging for change? Do we keep protesting? Yes, we do. But it's time to start looking at other things, right? And that kind of brings me to my topic. This past week, the state of Arizona, their legislature approved a school voucher program for all K-12 students. All K-12 students, right? Now, this is the most aggressive student voucher program in the country. Matter of fact, it's the only student voucher in the country where all students, regardless of where they live, regardless of status, regardless of of situation, all students, every parent has a right to withdraw their students from public school, receive a voucher up to an estimated $7,000 for that child, and use that voucher, right, to pay for whatever educational needs that student has. So if you're in Arizona right now and you want to homeschool your children, not only can you homeschool your children, you can go get a piece of your tax dollars to help facilitate the homeschooling. If you are a private school in Arizona right now, you can advertise a discounted rate or keep your rates where they are, because people in your state can go get $7,000 towards their tuition and bring it straight into your organization. You can use the money for tutoring. Anything related to education, you can do it. It's education freedom. Now, you would think with all of the complaints I made about black people in the public school system, the relationship between the public school system and the penal system, the dropout rate among black males in certain urban centers, right? the lack of culture being taught in our public schools, zero tolerance discipline policies that don't work being implemented in our schools, black children being railroaded into special ed more than any other students in our public schools, black children being suspended more, expelled more, culturally misunderstood more than anybody else in our public schools. You think after pointing out all of that, right, and the fact that public school was never segregated, let's point this out too, right? Let's point this out too, right? Most black students still attend non-white and mostly poor public schools in 2022. Most black students, over 75% of black students in America still attend poor non-white schools. So the myth of integration really needs to be debunked because the public school system is not diverse. It may be diverse compared to back in the day, but it's not diverse in the true definition of what diversity is. Black principals and administrators are still largely placed in black schools in black areas. They didn't really integrate the professionals like that, right? And several traditional black schools that have built up strong traditions in their and ties in their communities were shut down during integration in the name of progress, right? So with all that being said, you think that we'd be clapping about school choice. But nah, y'all, this is a conservative agenda. This is an agenda being pushed by the pro-Trump people. This is an agenda being pushed by white nationalists. This is an agenda being pushed by the far right. Now, their reasons aren't gonna be reasons that you might like. Like right now, they're using the red herring, saying that it's CRT. They're using CRT to leverage. Now they've been trying to look. Number one, they've been trying to privatize education more and destroy the little diversity that's there since integration happened. Like that agenda has never stopped. Okay, that agenda has never stopped. Matter of fact, in Texas, for example, the homeschooling laws are the most liberal in the country. I'm gonna say it again. Texas, one of the most conservative states in the country, has the most liberal homeschooling laws in the country. In the state of Texas, if you want to homeschool your child, all you got to do is go withdraw them, check a box that say homeschool, and go about your business. And any homeschool, any private school, right? Any school that says, no, I promise I'm teaching, they count. That counts in Texas. And any institution that accepts taxpayer dollars in Texas has to accept homeschool and private school students, period. Funny how they're so conservative about money, conservative about what should be the type of behavior should be out front in society, yet very liberal when it comes to education, very liberal when it comes to education rights. Well, of course, you probably gathered by now that their liberalism in education is due to being able to move away from integration, right? To be able to move away from diversity, to be able to move away from that, and to be able to continue to control the curriculum. They saw this coming. They saw that as non-white populations increase, then that means the demand for certain things are going to increase. When you get more brown and black people and brown and black babies running around, they're going to start asking funny questions like, why I don't see nobody look like me in the books? And why, if this is now a 40%, 50 and 60% non-brown city, why can't we change it? Why, now that the population and demographics are shifting, we don't want that same story about George Washington couldn't tell a lie, and so he said he confessed to chopping down the cherry tree. We want to know about George Washington, the slave owner. Tell us about him. We no longer want to know about Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Now we want to know about Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the notes on the state of Virginia. And when we start asking questions like that, it's like, wait a minute. Our children are going to start feeling guilty. These people are demanding some truth. They're demanding their truth. And we don't want our children to be indoctrinated by their truth. But it was okay when we were being indoctrinated by their truth. There's a fear of what America would become if everyone shared their truth. Right? And so that's what's pushed the school choice movement. That's what's pushed the school voucher movement, right? Matter of fact, there's also been a movement of white communities across the country annexing their own school districts, taking the schools in their community, and organizing and forming their own school districts. Right? There are other school voucher programs across the country too. None as liberal as Arizona's, right? None that gives you the power. Most you have to have some sort of stipulation on whether or not you're going to get that voucher. You got to prove that it's a failing school. You have to, maybe it's a youth with a disability, so there are some hoops you have to go through in other states that have school choice programs. Arizona, you fill out a form. So the question, is school choice good for the Black community? Now, this is what some of the critics say about school choice. The critics say that school choice is going to destroy the public school system. That if you're taking students out of the public schools, taking the money with them, then the schools that are already poorly funded is going to be funded even worse. And you'll see the collapse of the public school system. Other critics say you better watch out for the conservatives because, especially the rich and wealthy, they're tired of paying for your child's education. They're tired of a portion of their tax dollars going towards your child's education. They would rather privatize education the people they want to consider to continue their legacy, invest in them, and leave everybody else to fend for themselves. Because for them, freedom is the freedom to exploit, right? The freedom to capitalize on something and not have to pay recompense for it. The freedom for your daddy to be his janitor, right? For your daddy to be his janitor and for him to be free enough to just pay your daddy enough to get back to work the next day to clean up, but not enough to provide you with a home and not enough to provide his next generation with a means of moving and increasing and improving their station in life. Right. So those are those motives, and that's the criticism. Those are some of the criticisms of school choice. Okay, and they're very valid. They're very valid. I did a little research, and in most states where you have school choice, including Arizona up to now, right? Well, still now, right? If students are already homeschooled, like if you're already homeschooling your students and you go get your voucher, your money won't come out of the public school fund. Your money comes out of the state fund. But if you pull your children from public school and go get the voucher, then yes, that comes out of the state fund, of the public school fund. But here's my question to you. If our children are failing in the public, no, let me do this. No, I'm sorry. If the public school system is failing our children, why do they deserve the subsidy? Why do they deserve the money? Why do they deserve your child? And if all of the organizing we've been doing, all of the battling, all of the getting the jobs and changing it from the inside, if that's not working, if the federal government is still not listening to you, not paying teachers enough, not providing the right curriculum, not providing us, allowing us. I mean, think about this. We're supposed to be free, and I'm saying allowing us, right? Not allowing us, empowering us to learn our story in an empowering way, to learn empowerment-based education, entrepreneurship, investing, real estate, teaching us how to solve the issues in our community, teaching us how to politically and economically take over our community. If we're not getting that, if we're not getting what we want, then why do they get to get what they want? And herein lies a big part of the issue for me. Herein lies a big part of the issue for me. I've watched and studied over the years as the school choice movement has evolved, and it hasn't just been about lobbying for school choice, because that's a big part of it, is getting the signatures, getting the message out there, right? But it's also been preparing for school choice. Watch how many private schools pop up in Arizona. Watch how many the education services, education companies come out of the woodworks in Arizona. Oh, the virtual education community is licking its chops right now, getting prepared for school choice. Right? What if you're somewhere and you're an advocate for public school, but school choice is passed anyway? And all the doomsday, instead of talking about the doomsday if school choice is passed, why aren't we educating the community on getting prepared for school choice to pass? The opportunities that come with school choice passing, opportunities for retired teachers, opportunities for public school teachers who are disgruntled, who have lost the joy of teaching, but now you have an opportunity to start your own education business, whether you're developing curriculum, whether you're doing tutoring, whether you're doing a Saturday school, virtual education. There's opportunity there as well. There's opportunity to increase your salary. There's opportunity for us to build our own schools. Remember all them family life centers that the church, black churches started building in the 90s when they took them faith-based grants from George Bush? All of them can be schools. We don't want everybody. Let's go get the ones that are going to fall through the cracks. Let's go get the ones that say they're not going to pass the state test, so let's just put him in special ed. No, we're not going to put him in special ed so he won't count against your check. We're going to go put him at the Family Life Center down here at the church. That's now a school where the parent can bring the subsidy. The church is compensated. We're running a school. Why not? Why not look at something like school choice and say, wait a minute, what choices do we have? I'll tell you what, if your public school system knew that you were willing to leave and build and develop education opportunities for your own child, take your tax dollars and do something else with them, if they knew you were willing to do that, now you have leverage. Now they're going to come to you and say, what do we do to keep this system in place? What do we do? What do we have to do to keep this system in place? When they realize they can't just scare you, they can't just scare you into having a common opinion with a prejudiced white person, right? When they realize they can't just make you feel guilty for agreeing with Donald Trump, or they can't make you feel guilty because you want something that white conservatives are asking for too. When they realize that you know that, no, whenever y'all pass that, I'm going to use it too. I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to use both of you. I'm going to use school choice and I'm going to use the public school system. Yeah, pass that, because we need choices. We need to stop settling for, if your baby don't make it here, he's going to end up dead or in jail. We got to stop settling for that dynamic. What if the dynamic was, if your baby don't make it here, he can make it there. If your baby ain't making it here, he can make it there. If your baby ain't making it here, he can make it there, because there's a program tailor-made for your child. There's another program over there tailor-made for your child. So all these children who think outside the box, that are indigo children, that's never going to conform, let's build something for them. Let's build several somethings for them. School choice. Is it good for the black community, or will it be bad for the black community? It'll only be bad for us if we don't believe in ourselves enough to get prepared for it, to learn about it, to take advantage of it. It's only bad for us if we don't believe we could do it ourselves. It's only bad for us if public school is our only hope. And keep in mind, the public school system is not broke. The public school system is corrupt. That's a difference. I'm gonna say it again. The public school system is not broke and it's not broken. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do, but it's corrupt. You show me some underfunded schools, and I'll show you some funny money somewhere. You show me a low performing school, and I'll show you a school that as soon as the principal start bringing those scores up, I'll show you a school district is going to move that principal because failing schools are cash cows. They're afraid of you digging a little deeper. But I guarantee you, if you did dig deeper, you'd want a choice. School choice. Something to think about, y'all. Go check out what's going on with the school choice movement in your state. And perhaps as Black people, we should come together and talk about what would school choice mean for us. What type of school choice do we prefer? I know some of y'all gonna say the kind where I could take my baby out to Black school and send them across town to the predominantly white school. We've been doing that since the 60s. How's that working? Let's discuss some other solutions. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for listening in. Like, share this video, hit subscribe. We on YouTube.